Robert Dieters, national sports commissioner, to go along with Sarah, high school football broadcaster, a man obviously of very few words. Robert, in the semifinal championship game, when you guys, Robert, coming up in a couple weeks, you guys have the semifinal championship. You guys have faced numerous injuries now that running game is coming back into the fold. Why in the world could Sarah end up facing off against the De La Salle or Folsom in the Open Championship, given that you guys are, according to the rankings, the next best team?
Well, the reason why is they did lose a game during the regular season, and that's what happened last year, and that's why the Sarah Padres did not make the state Open Championship. They made it longer. They lost to St. Francis. Now, they did lose to a tough Archbishop. I think they're in Division II, but that was a team that had up and rising. They had, I believe, an Arizona State-man, Tommy Hudson, come out from an injury, and you guys, Brett Foley just came out of nowhere for that squad and really beat Sarah. And Sarah, that was an injury that cost you last time more face. And they can talk about that running game. Calvin Cassidy is back, and this is his third week back. How's that broken collarbone injury? And I think he looks better than ever at this point. I think Sarah Padres' defense, the defense has kept them in all season long. The D-line, period. You have Billy Tui Devontae, you have Kwame Jones, the photo, and you have the leader, Clayton Felice, on that D-line. We also have two other captains, a linebacker and James Allen. They only run a two linebacker system, and they also have free safety, Davida Tui Devontae, who has played with numerous injuries. So he had a cast on. So he played with the cast. But, when you look at it, they played some tough teams, and they played against De La Salle. They lost by 2-3 touchdowns there. Then you go to Notre Dame, you lose by 10, 24, 14. We're talking about the Sherman-Oaks Notre Dame, by the way. And unfortunately, this is an interesting issue. If Sarah lost the last game of the season, they had two losses. They would not make open division because the points for CCS system kind of whack. They didn't get any points for the De La Salle game, and they did not get any points for the Sherman-Oaks Notre Dame game. I thought that was very interesting during that whole situation. I talked to Max Press, and they said that CCS points did not count for the first two games. And I look at that and I'm kind of questioning why, and it's because Sherman-Oaks Notre Dame didn't win the league. But Sarah struggled, and they come through adversity every season. They here and there they lost the big guy, Matt Dickerson, who committed to goes to UCLA now, and he actually has 1 or 2 sacks in the season. But as I said, Sarah, I think they have a chance to win this year. I think this game at home is going to predict it.
Yeah, Sarah High School not only would shock the world, but also Max Preps, giving them absolutely no love. Again, thank you, Robert Dieters, for joining us on what is otherwise a Southern California enthusiast station. And just to get back to some of what we have been talking about here, obviously the matchups favor. Can't really tell who is the favorite in all three of these games. Of course, Sarah may be the lone team that we could expect to win relatively easy outside of the obvious big matchup of the weekend, St. John Bosco taking on Norco High School. Just to get you guys caught up on some of the storylines, we'll start with the Bosco side. This is a team led by a running back in Sean McGrew, ranked 3rd in the Pac-5 division, also top 10 in the state in rushing yards per game. This is a man who has racked up over 1,500 yards on the ground. What's been amazing here, Chris, is that he's doing it without even getting the bulk of the carries, really, especially as of late. Clifford Sims has gotten into the action, yet Sean McGrew has been nothing short of a monster down there in the backfield. 23 rushing touchdowns this season.
Yeah, at St. John Bosco this year, the running back spot, it's that 1A, 1B tandem with McGrew and the senior running back Sims. We didn't see too much of Sims in meaningful time last year. Nasser Nessie was kind of the power back, but we've only seen him carry the football maybe 2 or 3 times so far this season. I don't know why. He was a fantastic running back last year for St. John Bosco. He's a senior this year. I guess he's focusing more on playing defense. He's also a middle linebacker for Jason Negro's squad. So what Sean McGrew has done so far at St. John Bosco is amazing. So let's not forget, he's closing on the single-season touchdown record as far as rushing goes here in 2014. 26 is the record. He has 25 right now. So if I was a betting man, like, I'd put some money on Sean LeBron this week against the Norco defense that gave 70 points in round one.
Well, it's amazing, and of course, Dan not only would put down some money on McGrew playing well this postseason, but also a man who only in very limited snaps ended up playing extremely well, Josh Rosen. 11 of 18 passing for the UCLA commit, 288 yards, 2 touchdowns, and no big mistakes in that win against Long Beach Cabrillo. And when you take a look at Norco and how they put up 71 points in their opening round matchup, Rosen, Dan, is going to have to be on his A game in order to outscore a Norco high school team that put up a 70-burger last week.
He will have to be on his best game. So the thing about Rosen is it doesn't matter who he plays because he is who he is. He's the 5-star guy. He's got the arm. He's got all the abilities to be playing at the next level. So he's always going to bring it. And I almost feel like, let's be honest, dude, Bosco's been holding back. Like they still haven't shown us the goods. They probably showed us the goods against Jay Serra and Modern Day, but we still haven't seen them playing at their highest level. About Norco, they do have a great quarterback. His name's Victor Viramontes, but I hear he might not be available for Friday. Whoa, where'd you hear that? Hey, I got sources, bro. I can't really let him go. But hey, check it out: 1,500 yards on the ground and 1,700 yards through the air. So this guy, he brings a dual threat to Bosco, and it's something that Bosco has struggled with.
Listen to these numbers here, guys, and then I do want to get your take on how this will match up. Victor Viramontes is the number 1 passer and the number 1 running back for Norco High School. Last week when he took on St. Bonaventure, again, and also Victor Viramontes, we talked all this praise about Sean McGrew. Viramontes is an even better running back statistically than McGrew this year, which is phenomenal. Viramontes, 16 of 24, 226 passes, and 3 touchdowns last week against St. Bonaventure. But he's not done there. He carries 33 times for 345 yards and 5 touchdowns here as a running back. So just to put it all together, guys, before we get to you real quick, 570 yards of offense for Victor Viramontes and 7 touchdowns, Chris. Amazing.
Well, I think Dan wanted to say something.
Dan?
Oh, yeah, just something very quick. I just got text. He will be available Friday.
My goodness, Dan. Are you kidding?
No, I'm not kidding. I just got text. Wanted to make sure.
Dan is always very modest when it comes to his predictions. But, Chris, I do want to get your take on how Bosco, who has struggled against the Trinity League defensively, of course, Norco is not in the Trinity League, but this is a team that can put up points by the bunches.
It's the Achilles heel for the St. John Bosco defense has been stopping the dual threat quarterback. We go back to Bishop Corman. Tay Martell absolutely tore St. John Bosco up through the air and on the ground. Travis Waller running the football had a field day against the St. John Bosco defense. Nick Robinson of Jay Serra was also able to do some things as well. Couple of rushing touchdowns, couple of passing touchdowns for him. So for St. John Bosco, it's been all about the lack of the ability or lack thereof of stopping the dual threat quarterback. And Viramontes is exactly that. After watching some film on him, I really think St. John Bosco is going to have a lot of trouble with him. He reminds me of Johnny Manziel, the way he takes the snap and the way he runs all over the field before he finally decides to touch it and run or pass it. So it's going to be very tough to call play-by-play of Norco's offense this week, and I feel bad for whoever has to do that. But I feel even worse for the St. John Bosco defense because they're going to have some trouble stopping Mr. Viramontes, who, by the way, is only a junior.
What's amazing is that Victor Viramontes, given, is an amazing talent here for Norco High School. 8 touchdowns last week against St. Bonaventure total, but even if the Braves were able to hold him to a far less total than he's typically having, which is over 400 yards of offense per game, you also have to stop another junior, Chris, in Gavin Hughes, who ran for over 240 yards in their win against St. Bonaventure. A two-man running attack is a deal that the Braves haven't faced in quite some time.
No, I mean, St. John Bosco, they haven't seen a two-headed running attack monster per se, kind of, like St. John Bosco has, Clifford Sims and Sean McGrew. You get a great running back tandem with Hughes and the other kid for Norco. So, Norco, they're going to be able to put some points up on the board against St. John Bosco. At least I think that. Hopefully St. John Bosco's defense will finally step up to the plate after pitching their first shutout against Cabrillo last week and translate some of that momentum into this week. But, I mean, going into the game, it's going to be a shootout.
And if it is, we're going to have to rely, Dan, on that fourth quarter defense. Does that worry you at all that the leading turnover machine for, per se, the Braves is 2 interceptions out of Trayvon Beck? Understandably, in the fourth quarter, you get some big plays, some clutch moments there by a St. John Bosco D that actually is playing relatively well in the second half, kind of like last year's team. But in the first half, last season with the Braves claiming the national championship is on the defensive side, not the first that comes to mind. I think more of the teams in the Braves of the past that haven't even made the playoffs, Dan.
It's not the Braves team that we expected coming in, where there's going to be lights out on both sides of the ball. You're right, they have been struggling on defense, but they've been making it difficult, and that's the most important thing. I mean, I say it a lot where they tend to not give up the big play. They do give up yards in chunks, but they make it difficult. Scoring against St. John Bosco isn't the easiest. It's not the other way around, like how McGrew runs all over the other teams. It's not like that.
Yeah.
Instead, we're talking about games that come down to the wire, and it's just not easy for any team to compete with St. John Bosco and Norco. I think they've met their match, and I think they'll have an exit in this second round, guys.
Well, obviously, St. John Bosco is no St. Bonaventure, given that Bonnie actually has a relatively strong quarterback. And this week he's going to play, that's Norco High School, another strong opponent. But, boy, I just also do want to touch on the fact that not only is the defense struggling, but, Chris, this is a team that special teams-wise, led by Eric Daniels, has flat-out played miserably over the last month.
Yeah, they have. That's definitely that's definitely a big concern for me. The PhD and taking duties as far as field goals go. For Eric Daniels, not to kind of you hated the kid, but I mean the guy's missing point blank PATs. I mean, sure, some of the snaps have been bobbled.
No, he's missed 9. That's more than just missing a few. Yeah.
Yeah, so I just think St. John Bosco, they got to look through. I mean, they're that good of an offense that why don't they sometimes go for 2? Really, I mean, even in close games. I mean, look what Oregon does. Oregon goes for 2 sometimes. If you're St. John Bosco, you have so many options at the goal line. You can hand off to Clifford Sims. You can hand off to Sean McGrew. You can run a read option. You can run Josh Rosen. Or you can throw a jump ball to one of the receivers, maybe even a screen pass. I mean, St. John Bosco, they're so talented offensively. I don't know why they don't go for 2 more often.
Well, it's amazing, though. You talked about the options. Next year, St. John Bosco may have a number of options outside of, obviously, the all-star quarterback and Josh Rosen being gone. There's this man, a freshman. Chris, I don't know if you know much about him, Real Mitchell. He carried the ball some in last week's game against Long Beach Cabrillo. Not to mention Terrence Beasley, only a sophomore. And obviously, we had even some linemen in Matthew Katnick score the football down there on the goal line. Quentin Davis should be our quarterback next year. The options, while it may not be Josh Rosen, we may not win with one man. We may win with 3, 4, or 5 players, all led by, obviously, senior Sean McGrew next season.
Yeah, there's no doubt think John Bosco probably going to change up the offense a little bit next year. Maybe run a little bit more of a read option, kind of what you see with Jay Sarah right now. I think if I had to compare Quentin Davis to a quarterback in the Trinity League, it would be a guy like Nick Robinson. I don't know if he's as good of a passer as Robinson is, but definitely, as we talked